The following podcast contains spoilers and words like piss, shit, and fuck. We watch the thing. We watch the thing. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to We Watched a Thing, your favourite podcast in the universe with B Dizzle and Dave. How you doing, mate?
New phone, who dis? You weren't here last week.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I'm back. But you and Julio did a great job. It was fun editing that one actually, and having a listen and seeing how different you guys are than you and I.
We'll see. We can get all geeky about comics.
You've really been holding the fort lately because you also did a wonderful guest spot on the live stream for The Cure this week.
I did. I live strum.
You did, which sadly I couldn't make it to, but I did send you some little audio clips to play.
Yep.
I had very little internet, so I couldn't watch the entire thing. It kind of dipped in and out. I saw Gerald starting to have a go at my Tommy Boy pick, and then it cut out. Did Nick at least back me up?
Oh, yeah. You two are notoriously Siamese twins with that movie.
He's a great dude. I love Nick, and it's such a great event. I'm really glad that you at least were able to make it there. So no, that was a great. And I saw that Nick managed to raise, I think it was $19,000 this year.
Just shy of 20, yeah. Short of the 25 target, but the event was shorter this year, so I don't think that's any slight on. I think there's support was as strong as always. It was a fantastic event. Thanks to everyone from our listeners who tuned in, and especially those who donated. If you did miss it, I believe Nick will at some point be putting all of the individual segments up on YouTube or something. So we'll let you know when and if that happens.
Nice. All right. Well, let's get onto this week's topic. What are we talking about this week, mate?
Well, fasten your seatbelts.
Fuck yes. I did have very little internet when we were away, but yes, because we couldn't stream anything in the hotel, I managed to convince Noose to go to the movies to see this one, and I'm super glad I did. So let's get into it then. Fast X, pronounced Fast 10, also known as Fast and Furious 10, is a 2023 American action film directed by Louis Leterrier from a screenplay written by Dan Mazeau and Justin Lin. It's the sequel, of course, to Fast 9. It's the 11th film in the saga, if you count the abysmal Hobbs and Shaw. And it stars, of course, Vin Diesel, Michelle Rodriguez, Tyrese Gibson, Ludacris Bridges, John Cena, Nathalie Emmanuel, Jordana Brewster, Sung Kang, God, fuck, this list goes on, Scott Eastwood, Alan Ritchson, Helen Mirren, Brie Larson, that surprised me, Rita Moreno, Jason Statham, Jason Momoa, and Charlize Theron. And what is it about, Dave?
It's about family.
Yeah.
Mia Familia. Oh, look, it's about the same sort of fucking shenanigans we've had for the last few of these films. Toretto and co. Start being targeted by a completely retconned fictional character who was apparently around in Fast and Fast Five.
Fast Five, I think that one's called.
Fast Five, yes.
The naming convention for this franchise is fucked.
One of many things that doesn't make sense. Apparently, Joaquim Dalmeida, who we last saw in Missing, had a kid that we didn't see back in the day, but he's out for revenge now for losing their money and his dad and other things. Played with all the scenery chewing and panache you can imagine by Momoa.
It's such a good performance.
Fucking hell. We'll have to have a whole separate conversation about his character.
Yeah.
And being either part one of 2 or part one of 3. Of the finale of this franchise, obviously we get every character that we've ever seen over the entire span of these films popping up, whether it fucking makes sense or not. Talking to you, Gal Gadot.
Oh my god, fuck, that was the best moment. Oh, seriously,
her career seems to be just doing little cameos at the end of films now.
So this movie, I I didn't have high expectations. I have a very, very mixed relationship with the Fast and Furious franchise.
I think most people do.
As long-time listeners know, it must have been, God, 2-3 years back now that Topher and I did our marathon. In fact, the 9th one hadn't come out yet, so it was just the first 8 we did. Marathon, all in one day. It was the most furious day of my life. Most of the movies are terrible. They're like, especially, I have no great love for the first one. The second one is one of the worst things ever made. Don't get me started on Tokyo Drift. From there, like, all right. The 5th one, I think, is probably its peak. 5 and 6.
5, 6, and 7. I think. I
really like 7.
I hesitate to use the word strong, but.
But I hated 9. I did not care for 9 at all. I thought the whole John Cena bullshit was crap, so I did not have high expectations.
8 and 9 are both garbage.
Yeah. Let me tell you this, though. This is the best film in this entire franchise. I loved this film. I loved this film so much. This movie absolutely slapped so hard. I had a smile on my face the entire time. This movie
I did too. I was pissing myself laughing.
It's so fucking good. This movie's so good. And I didn't know that Did you take like mushrooms on your weekend away or something? Are you still like spaced out? I didn't know that this was now going to be at least a duology, if not a trilogy.
He announced it as 2 some time ago, some months ago. And now we won't know, I guess, until 2025 when we see the next one. But
I didn't know. So when we got to the cliffhanger...
It's going to be 3.
When we got to the cliffhanger at the end of the movie, and then the 2 amazing post-credit scenes, you've already mentioned Gal Gadot. There's also one with The Rock popping up, which I did not expect. I was so fucking happy. I lost my shit because I cannot wait for Fast X Part 2.
You know The Rock's not going to be in it.
I don't care.
This was it.
I don't care.
And I guarantee you it was filmed without Vin Diesel on set.
Yeah, but that's what was amazing.
And I reckon it was the trade-off. They said, we're only going to give you Hobson Shaw 2 if you do the post-credits sting for Fast 10.
You know what, though? Honestly, this movie hopefully will finally end The Rock's career, because this movie proves that you don't need him. This is easily the best one since The Rock was in too much of the last couple. This one worked so well without The Rock. I was surprised by how much I like John Cena. He was the bad guy in the last one. Inexplicably, he's part of the family in this one.
Well, he's a brother.
I know
it was inexplicable that he was even in this franchise and just suddenly turned up.
But I liked him a lot in this film.
Completely different ethnicity, but whatever. Why should that make sense?
Oh man, I loved this movie. So I'm guessing from your tone that you did not.
I enjoyed it. But I was laughing at it in the same way I was laughing at the last one and 8.
But that's what this movie wants you to do. This movie does not want to be taken seriously.
I guarantee you Vin Diesel takes this seriously.
Yes, Vin Diesel does. He came out quite recently, I don't know if you saw this, comparing himself to J.R.R.
I missed it, but I did hear, I think Paul Prezula mentioned it on their show, which I'm not surprised. It's no wonder that he and The Rock just clashed, because they both have planet-sized egos.
Yeah.
I didn't. One thing and there were many things that made me laugh in this film, but I'd need to watch it again just to make sure. But I don't think Vin Diesel has unclenched hands at any point in this film unless he's actively picking something up. He is flexing constantly.
Yeah.
And I think it's because he's standing next to Momoa, who's like 9 feet tall, even though he's a bit paunchy since doing Slumberland. He's still enormous.
Yeah.
And he's alongside John Cena, who, if anything, is more bloated and muscular than The Rock was.
Yeah.
And Vin's 50, what, mid-50s?
Yeah, and you can see it. I love. Have you seen the meme?
His head gets bigger and bigger. He looks like a Mr. Potato Head now.
Yeah. Have you seen the meme of him like on his balcony, shirtless, like looking over, and it says "fat and curious"? No, I feel like this movie knows exactly what it is. This movie is so over the top and outrageous. Sure, Vin Diesel might be the one person taking it seriously, but that kind of just makes it even funnier because he's a little bit like Tommy Wiseau in The Room, you know. He genuinely believes he's making this masterpiece, but everybody else around him knows what's going on. The best example of which is Momoa.
Of them Momoa is genuinely. I would love to see an interview or something to know how much of that is him. It must be him because that character
choices he's made,
is completely at odds with this franchise.
Yeah.
That character does not belong in this franchise. It's literally
it's exactly what this film needed because he's having so much fun with it.
And progressively as it goes on, he starts out and he's just kind of a little bit dapper and prissy with his fancy shiny suits and that. By the time he's got the two corpses with their eyes sellotaped open and he's painting the fucking toenails on one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
That cannot be written by the guy that wrote the rest of the movie.
Yeah. It's fucking genius. He is having so much fun with this role. I wish that he had been in previous films because he is just
because then he'd be as jaded as all the rest of them because everyone else is fucking phoning it in.
I disagree. I'll stand Michelle Rodriguez till the end of time. I think she's utterly fantastic. I loved her in Dungeons and Dragons. I was going to say,
compare her in D&D with this, and she's almost asleep in this by comparison.
She's barely in it, which is a bit of a shame. Like, I feel like the one issue with this film is, yeah, and that's right, one issue. I think this is the only issue with this film, Dave, is a little bit of the pacing and structure. It suffers a little bit from Stranger Things Season 4 syndrome, where you've got kind of these multiple groups of stories because, you know, you've got Vin kind of doing his thing on his own. Then you've got the rest of the crew doing their really shitty, awful thing. And then you've got John Cena and the kid doing their thing and all these stories that kind of are meant to ultimately converge, but kind of don't really by the end of this film, which is fine. But I think that it suffers a little bit from that because Michelle Rodriguez is not in this film enough.
No. And they didn't seem to know what to do with her.
No, that's right. So she spends most of the film kind of, I guess, locked up and,
I still don't understand why we had Cypher back. Charlize Theron. They did not explain why she's even in this film.
Yeah.
Other than she got attacked, and for some reason, the only person on the planet she can turn to is someone that wants to kill her just because that's who they were looking for. So, Giant Momoa comes, takes over your entire organization. Apparently, her organization is just those 9 guys.
Yeah.
she had no one else that she could pull in. But he takes all of her people. She manages to escape, knowing that the sole target that, well, I should start calling him, is it Dante, is going after, is Dom Toretto and his family. So where on the entire earth does she go? Because it's the only place she'll be safe. To the fucking target that he's going to next. She could have gone anywhere in the world and been safe as houses. She goes to the one place that she knows that Dante is going to go.
Yeah.
Fucking stupid. And apparently really the CIA has black sites in the middle of Antarctica.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this movie was dumb.
No, the dumbest thing for me that I think they really need to, and it's too late now, it's too late. Brian should be dead at this point because the constant excuses about him watching the kids don't work anymore.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
When what's her face, Jordana Brewster, whose name I always forget, Mia, who I'm sorry,
they're constantly saying Mia and Brian are safe with the kids, and then in the next scene, she's sitting in the house.
She's alone, yeah, and she's looking after.
Brian
the
can't
nephew.
be more than a couple of blocks away.
No, and this is what I don't understand. She's looking after the nephew. Why would she go over there alone? Why wouldn't the nephew go to her house to stay with his cousins and Brian as well? Or why wouldn't Brian be there with her? It just doesn't make any sense. And you have all these big family barbecues and Brian's not there. It's
never
he's
there.
Supposedly like the biggest family man ever now, which is why he's not doing the missions. I'm sorry. It doesn't work.
It's pretty silly.
Yeah.
But it's you're meant to kind of just go along with it for the ride, I guess. The same way you're meant to expect that these 10 or 12 people who presumably have relatives of their own have just given up on their own families to be part of Dom's family and just be there every time and act like surrogate brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
As though this is now their core central family unit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's talk new members of the cast, of which there's not too many. There's Jason Momoa and Brie Larson. Did you know that Brie Larson was going to be in this movie? Because I didn't.
I had heard she's apparently wanted to be in it all her life. She loves the franchise, and she was
what a legend.
Much like Louis Leterrier, who'd apparently been campaigning to helm a film, and finally got his chance. Apparently they all fucking want to be in this thing. Probably because of the pay packet. Did you see the budget on this bastard?
Yeah, it's like the 7th most expensive film ever made. $350 million.
$40 million.
Yeah, that's a big number.
$100 million of which went to the cast.
Yeah, although
$100 million.
Last I saw,
for that ridiculous cast.
Last I saw, it had already earned back over $300 million on its first weekend.
I checked Box Office Mojo today, and budget 340, and it's at 348 worldwide.
Yeah,
but it needs to hit about 800 to break even.
It'll do it easy. It'll do it, no worries. I'm going to go see this movie again.
Oh, you'll do your bit then to keep Vin Diesel in fucking mansions.
I'm so glad that they're doing at least 2 more of these. I know that they said 10.
You're getting Hobbs and Shaw 2 as well.
I don't want Hobbs and Shaw 2. Hobbs and Shaw was a piece of shit. This movie right here, this is the problem. This franchise is just getting good again. Don't end it now. Keep going. What did you think of all?
Brie was one of the people that I thought I did enjoy the most.
Yeah, I thought she was
when
great.
she first came on, she was not good, but after that sort of first scene, I thought she had you got that Brie Larson sparkle coming in, particularly once you got to the big showdown on the highway overpass thing. Yeah. But that had Jason Momoa in it, and he made every scene better just by being
really
there.
Did.
So,
what did you think of all the other cameos? Like, we do get, of course, Jason Statham in this film, really not doing a lot, and we don't know kind of what's happening with him next. He kind of appeared just to set up a storyline for the next film, I guess, where he goes after Helen Mirren to save her.
Yeah, he's got to go and save Mummy.
Yeah,
I mean the plot line of all of these films is. I mean, the first one's just Point Break, but everyone after that, the stories have been stupid as all hell.
Yes. And but this movie kind of hangs a shade
enemies
on that.
Become friends, become members of the family.
Yeah.
Statham was a bad guy. His brother was a fucking proper bad guy.
Yeah. But this movie really hangs a shade on
Evans?
that. It was Luke Evans, yeah.
Like, he was proper evil when you had the whole Letty amnesia saga.
I remember everything.
But he was proper evil, bad guy.
Yeah.
His brother apparently, we're supposed to just get on board now. Okay, well, he's nice now. His mum, we love. Helen Mirren, apparently we love, even though her son was the full psychopath. I mean, he hasn't killed as many people as Dom and the family. I mean, they're pretty much mass murderers by this stage.
100%. Yeah. But this movie really hangs a shade on that stupidity. There's one of the first lines, I think, when evil nobody is talking about the gang, and he's like, that this is
Jack
their
Reacher.
MO. This is their MO, like they infiltrate and they turn people into their family. Like, it was fucking great.
They even made reference to, you took a car to space, surely you can do this.
And I got to say, the action sequences in this one were fantastic. Like the highway sequence, which you've spoken about with Momoa, and the Tchaikovsky music is fucking great. The scene at the end on the dam, I think I even loved the bomb rolling through Rome. I know that it's dumb as hell.
It was long though. Fuck.
It was fucking great.
I was in gold class and I'd said, bring my coffee at the halfway mark.
Yeah.
And that bomb thing is pretty much the first big action set piece.
Yeah.
It was still going when my coffee arrived. It's literally the first half of this 2 hour plus movie is one interminable.
It's so good.
Chase.
I loved that sequence. It's so good.
It was ridiculous.
Nah.
And it
so
really...
good. There's nothing better than when they're like, Dom, you're out of options. He's like, no, I'm not. And he like drives and it hits the fucking bomb hits the big beam thing, so it swings around like a baseball bat.
Pinball with it.
It was fantastic. And then somehow lands the car upright and is able to keep driving. like this movie knows what it is. In theory, he shouldn't
have survived the cold open.
Yeah.
Whatever the bit is where he's in the plane and goes, who said anything about landing, and then just drives out the back of the fucking plane. Doesn't wait for them to get lower or anything. Just plummets in his car about 300 feet.
Yeah.
Destroys 2 other cars, but is able to just keep driving. He would be dead.
Yeah. They would every single member of this family would be dead. Speaking of which, I obviously was not here last week, so you and Julio spoke about Guardians. But just quickly, I think they really missed a trick by Groot's one line in English in that film not being family. Like, why did he say "I love you guys" and not family? It was so stupid. It's like Diesel's catchphrase at this point.
He probably owns it, and he won't let Marvel use it without paying him royalties, and Marvel said, no, get fucked.
Yeah, maybe.
Can you believe he got $20 million for this fucking thing?
I can believe it.
And that's I mean, I don't even know if that includes, I mean, he's got to be like one of the main producers, so he's probably
I got to tell
a
you,
percentage of back end
I think he's worth it, because look, I'm no massive Vin Diesel fan, but
I used to be.
But the worst films in this franchise, Hobbs and Shaw and Tokyo Drift, the 2 films that Dom
Tokyo
isn't
Drift
in.
is not one of the worst films. It's 100%
it is. Fuck off. Tokyo Drift
is one.
Is
Too Fast, Too Furious is one of the worst.
Too Fast, Too Furious is terrible. Man, I'm telling you, Tokyo Drift is so bad.
The thing, I'll attempt to be serious for a second talking about this franchise. It won't last long. I think the sweet spot for and I don't mind the Point Break ripoff first one, but they pretty much rebooted this franchise at number 4.
Yeah.
From that point on, it's the Dom story. The first 2 films, Brian's the main character. Toretto he's Bodhi. He's the anti-hero, antagonist, whatever. Then he's not there for the next couple, although briefly in Tokyo Drift, I think. But then as soon as, and it's probably, I haven't looked on it, but maybe it's when he became signed on as one of the producers. Suddenly it's the whole thing's the Vin Diesel show.
Yeah. And
it's gone from being an intimate thing about street racing to basically a, James Bond, Brosnan era, ridiculous action spy, whatever.
So much better than Bond, though.
I will turn off my computer and walk out of the room.
These movies,
These better than Sans Goldeneye, better than the Brosnan Bonds. I'll give you that.
No, I would rather watch all 11 of these films back to back than watch 3 Bond films. Bond isn't fun like these movies. Like, yes, these movies are stupid, but you know what? And I don't find this with every... Like, I was hoping for this from, say, Moonfall. I was like, hopefully this will be so dumb that it's fun. And I didn't get it. Like, I'm not one of those people who just thinks that, you know, stupid films are always fun. But there's something about these films that mostly works for me.
Oh, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I could never watch one of these without alcohol. But these movies are begging for like a Mystery Science Theater style viewing where you're just tearing shreds off it the whole way through at every stupid thing.
Yeah.
And that's half the fun, which, yeah, Moonfall is not. Moonfall is just insultingly stupid and it made me angry. Yeah. Much like Godzilla vs. Kong.
No, that movie was great. I loved Godzilla vs. Kong.
Godzilla vs. Kong is fucking trash.
But I like kaiju movies, so I was
which is why I found it so offensive, because it was so bad. Godzilla was good. I don't know how they managed to ruin it with a sequel, but there you go. Kong Skull Island, good film. Yeah, who knows? Anyway, but this was laugh out loud stupid, which made it entertaining.
100%.
Because I didn't think they could top Car going to space.
Yeah.
But they managed to somehow disregard the laws of physics and nature even more, even though they weren't in space.
Yeah, yeah, so true.
That drive down the fucking dam was one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in my life.
And yet I was on the edge of my seat and I knew it was going to like cut to black there and I was like, fuck yes, give it to me. Just give me like old school serial. Just stop with Vin halfway up the dam or something. Just don't even show me what happens next. I'm living for it.
I was surprised. Did you see Alan Ritchson turning out to be bad?
No, I didn't see that coming.
I thought he was going to die. I thought he was going to... That sort of seems to be what happens. The rival or whatever turns around and either joins the family or dies as soon as they start to help.
Yeah.
So I was quite surprised that Scott Eastwood didn't die.
Yeah.
He's still around. And Alan Ritchson turned out to be a baddie. And they retconned him into the retcon.
Yes. Yeah, they really did.
It was a retconception.
No, I loved this movie. So all in all, how are you scoring Fast X?
Oh, God, it's so hard. Because it's not a good film. Like, if I'm honestly rating it on the quality of the film, it's like a fucking 3. But if I rate it on how much I enjoyed it after 2 or 3 Coronas, it's... I don't know, Reed. I'll give it a 5.5, and I feel dirty giving it so much because it's fucking bad. But
I'm gonna piss you off here.
No, I'm so prepared for it.
So this is what I've always said. I'm not gonna rank a Fast Furious movie against Citizen Kane. Like that's not how it works. You know, like I think when I'm scoring a movie, I'm thinking, did this movie achieve what it set out to do in an entertaining way? The answer for this is fuck yes, it did. This is easily the best Fast and Furious film of the franchise.
That's insanity.
This is the best outrageous action blockbuster I've seen in so long. I love it. I love a stupid action blockbuster. The Rock, Con Air. We haven't had a movie this good since the 90s, I think. You know, so I'm going to really piss Topher off here, and I'm going to give this the same score I did The Godfather. This is a 9 out of 10.
Fucking hell.
I'm going to watch it again and again and again. I'm not going to watch every movie in this franchise, but this one I will rewatch for sure.
I'll say the reason that I think the peak for these films is that 5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
Is I think that's when it kind of reached the apex of we're doing big stupid action. It's you know, we're in a world where physics really doesn't apply in the way it does in the real world.
Yeah.
But we still have heart. Like the whole yes, it's schmaltzy and everyone ridicules it, but the whole family thing is kind of what set these films apart from other dumb action movies, because there is a genuine heart to them. But I think true. I think the genuine heart in those three, sort of 5, 6, 7, up until sort of the tribute to Paul Walker at the end, felt genuine. I don't feel it in them now. The action is bigger and splashier, and the set pieces are grander, and the physics is even less real. But I don't. The family thing just feels like lip service now. They've got a checklist. We need to mention family and La Familia 5 times. We need 1 fucking barbecue.
We need 40 Coronas.
Fucking get Rita Moreno in so that we've got a matriarch of the family now. I don't know if they had one before, but now it's Rita Moreno. Why not? But it feels kind of hollow and forced, whereas it actually did feel genuine for those earlier ones post Diesel reboot.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like they've sacrificed the heart, which is supposedly the most important thing about these films, at the altar of bigger, dumber action.
Yeah, right. I still feel like the heart is there. Which doesn't
necessarily make them less entertaining. It just, I don't think they're as successfully delivering what they think they're delivering as they were around that sort of Fast Five.
I definitely still feel the heart, and I think knowing that this is a duology, if not a trilogy, I'm hoping, at least, if not expecting, that will grow to a bit of a crescendo. I'm actually hoping that there might be, for example, one actual real death in the next one, someone who doesn't come back. And that's your classic kind of middle of a trilogy thing. The middle is always the dark one. So I'm hoping that this does end up being 3. In the next one, we actually get some kind of real consequence for this family that does kind of bring that heart back in. But I guess we'll see. Who knows what's going to happen? It could just be a piece of shit, because most of the films in this franchise are. But this one was extraordinary. I loved it. Momoa.
Who do you think is? I mean, they've obviously left a cliffhanger on pretty much every character. The only characters that we know aren't dead right at this moment are Dom and the kid.
Yep.
And
Letty.
Is that his and Elsa Pataki's kid?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Why is the kid like
I don't
African
know the
American?
ethnicity. It doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Because what's Diesel? He's Mediterranean or something. He's not.
Yeah,
white,
and she was extraordinarily white.
She's Nordic as fuck.
Yeah.
She's Mrs. Thor, for God's sake.
Yeah.
So I don't know where this.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Anyway,
but yeah, them and Letty are the only ones we know we were alive. John Cena is presumed
dead.
The
Everyone else that was in the plane
is presumed dead.
But let's face it, that plane crashed around a mountain, so we know
they're
all
not
alive.
dead. They're not dead, but they're presumed dead.
And I'm assuming we'll see John Cena crawl out of the wreckage.
Yeah.
But from interviews I've read with Rodriguez, she's said, and they're filmed. I'm assuming they're filming back to back, which is why the budget's so fucking astronomical. But she said something about, the good thing about it being the end is that you can have some real consequences and you can kill characters.
Which I would expect
genuinely be the end of characters.
I truly believe that Letty will die in the next one, in the middle of the trilogy. I think that she is the one who makes sense for it to happen. She will have the most consequence for the rest of the family, I think. I think
Ratcatcher's definitely dead because she's only just joined.
Yeah.
And the one who she's like Elsa Pataki's sister, the street racer one.
Yeah.
She's not going to make it.
Yeah.
I think we'll probably have either Ludacris and or Tyrese.
I mean, hopefully they'll both die. we can hope.
I don't mind Ludacris, but fuck, please kill Tyrese. I didn't like him in Too Fast, Too Furious. He's just gotten more irritating as it's gone on.
Yeah.
The only thing I want, don't kill Nathalie Emmanuel. That will make me sad. She's my favourite thing in this entire franchise.
In that case, I hope they kill her. just to bring in some real consequence. And I hope she dies in the exact same way she did in Game of Thrones.
Well, they should have had her on the dam and they could have just pushed her off.
Yeah.
And then she could have surfed down it.
Yes, that would have been sick.
That would not have been out of place in this film.
All right, well, there you go. Fast X, a hard recommend.
I'm not going to list off all of the stupid shit that made me laugh and just go, what the fuck? But what's with the fuck? Since when do they have Star Trek level med robots that laser wounds shut? What the fuck was that thing?
But that wasn't the family, was it? Wasn't that the CIA people who did that?
Yeah, that was at the Antarctica black site, because that's where you put a black site in the middle of Antarctica, because it's so convenient.
I would believe that tech exists.
And apparently,
at a CIA black site in Antarctica.
Charlize Theron, who doesn't work there, was only a prisoner, knows it well enough that even while strapped down with her little finger, she can override the controls and fucking set herself free.
That was silly.
Oh my God.
Well, there you go. A great film. Before we go, shall we do a little mini review, mate? Because we did see another thing.
Yeah, let's talk about a good film.
We both did get to Evil Dead Rise.
Evil Dead Rise.
Which is a 2023 American supernatural horror film written and directed by Lee Cronin. The 5th installment in the Evil Dead film series. It stars Lily Sullivan and Elisa Sutherland. And what is it about?
Deadites!
Yeah.
Hey,
Deadites in an apartment.
We have a wonderful opening that's set in the future, where we have a couple of cousins and one of their dickhead boyfriends out at a cabin in the woods, because why wouldn't you? And one of the female cousins goes a bit crazy and starts ripping faces off people and stuff. And then we backtrack 24 hours and then follow our heroine Beth, who is a roadie for a rock band. Discovers she's pregnant, doesn't quite know what to do, so she goes to visit her cousin, who is a single mother tattoo artist with 3 kids, a couple of teenagers and a little gal, and for some reason lives in a decrepit, dilapidated, falling down apartment block in LA. Yep. And then Sam Raimi style horror overtakes her, and you've then got Beth trying to keep the kids safe while their mum gets progressively more and more evil, and Evil Dead type shenanigans ensue.
I liked this movie a heap. Obviously, it's very, very different to a lot of the previous Evil Deads. It is, for the most part, missing that kind of gleefulness that exists in those films. Like it's I still think there are some fun moments in this film, and the gore is if you're the kind of person who enjoys gore, then you're going to have fun with this film. This was
really solid.
They
really
must
solid.
have set the record for the most fake blood used in a film. Like this is an extraordinary
they've got that
amount of blood.
Purely in that one Shining homage with the lift. I mean, there
is gallons upon gallons of fake blood in this film. It's extraordinary.
Fucking great.
And it's a nice tight film. It's what is it? Just over 90 minutes?
Oh, it flew by. Really flew by.
Yeah. I even liked the child actors in this film.
They were all excellent.
Yeah.
I liked Lily Sullivan, who's Beth, our heroine, but MVP is Alyssa Sutherland as the mum, Ellie. She was fucking amazing in this.
Yeah. It's pretty great. It's really great. That scene where
for
any outside.
For any Aussies that were watching TV in the early 2000s, where she was the flake girl in all of the Cadbury flake ads, it's a very different turn in this film.
Very different.
No sexy licking of chocolate in the rain in a convertible in this.
Yeah, I think that this is a really, really well-constructed film. It makes sense. Like, for me, a mark of a good horror film is, do I believe that the characters would have acted this way. And that's not to say that characters always make good choices, because people don't. But I do think that this is a very believable horror film in that sense. I think that all the characters...
Only two of the sort of, you fucking idiot, no, why would you do that moments? One of them is by a very young girl, so I forgave it.
The little girl opening the door when the mum is singing?
Yeah. I forgave that because she is so young. And the other one is fucking Danny finding Necronomicon Ex Mortis, which looks like an evil book that will summon evil and do evil things.
Yeah.
It even has fucking teeth on it in this one.
Yeah.
You've got to unlock. You have to unlock the fangs. It bites you, and yet... look, there's an audio book version. Let's put it on.
No, I would do that. 100%. I mean, no, honestly, like, I've been watching a lot of...
What are the alternatives? Either it does nothing. This is my feeling about seances as well. When someone says, hey, let's have a seance. I'm like, no, fuck off. Either it does nothing, in which case we feel like idiots, or it does something, in which case we all fucking die. There is no upside. There's no... option 3, we all get pizza. No, there's no good that could possibly come from it. So
I would do
he
it.
annoyed
Trust
me.
You're going to shit on me here, because lately I've been watching a lot of porn stars, which, because, I've run out of Property Brothers, and this show did make Wayne.
Do you need to spell that for the listeners, or are we just going to leave it hanging there?
Porn as in, like, pawn shops. That still doesn't help, does it?
PAWN. Like the chess piece. There you go.
And, someone came in with, like, a first edition Alice in Wonderland the other day. That book is worth, like, 20 grand. If I found an old-looking book, you bet your ass I'm going to grab it and kind of see what it is, because that could be worth some money.
But you'd try and sell it. You wouldn't open it up and start reading the Latin passages
you'd have to open it up
in blood.
No, you'd have to open it up to make sure it's okay, because the other half of this story is that Alice in Wonderland book. All of the illustrations had been coloured in by a toddler, which heavily reduced the value. So you got to open the book and have a look at this, mate. 100% I'd be taking that book.
So he annoyed me. I really liked Bridget, the older daughter.
Yeah,
she was an awesome character. Yeah. And spoilers. Don't turn off now if you haven't seen it. But I did not see the kids dying coming out.
No, me neither. Me neither. That really, really surprised me. And added to the film for sure. Like, when something truly takes you by surprise like that, I didn't for a second think they were going to kill the kids.
I kind of thought maybe he would go, because he was fucking annoying, and
he's the one who started it. Yeah.
It's his fault, and he was written in such a way that you just didn't like him. But you really liked what's her name, Bridget.
Yeah.
And Cassie, obviously. By the time they killed the two older kids, I totally thought that when she left Cassie down in the car park, went away, came back, she was going to have, like, dead-eyed eyes. So it surprised me twice.
It did, yeah. And speaking of the opening scene, which I agree, I thought was very strong. I love that was, even by the end, virtually unrelated. Like, if anything, it bookends the film, but it's more, I guess, kind of set up to a sequel than anything, which is why it's interesting that that's the way the film starts.
But the sequel I want is Beth and Cassie going off to kick some dead-eyed ass. I don't give a shit about what happens to Teresa or whatever her name was that we left. Because we didn't see her die, did we? In the opening, no. Her fate was left up in the air a bit. So don't really give a shit about her. But I did like Beth and Cassie walking out with picking up the chainsaw and heading off to go fight again another day. That was great.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, very enjoyable film. I really enjoyed this film. How are you scoring it out of 10?
Oh, it's definitely better than fucking Fast 10. I think I'm a 7 on this.
Yeah.
Maybe even 7.5. It's pretty fucking good.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, this for me is a whole 1 point lower than Fast X. This is an 8 out of 10. This is
it does make me keen for what Lee Cronin's doing next. Because did you ever seen his Hole in the Ground? His debut feature?
No.
Oh, that was quite cool. Very, very stylish. A young woman and her young son moved to like this remote house in the middle of nowhere, and there's this giant sort of sinkhole that seems to exert some personality changing powers over her kid. It's pretty creepy. That was really good.
Cool.
And then he did this, so 2 for 2 from Mr. Lee Cronin.
Yeah,
and he's written both of them as well. So looking forward to seeing what he does next.
Yeah, nice.
But this is a far better film than Fast 10. So listeners, if you're tossing up, you go, oh, let's go to the movies. What are we going to see? See Evil Dead Rise. Don't see fucking Fast 10 because it sucks.
Oh, them's fighting words. All right, well, what are we getting to next week, mate?
We're still going to. I'd like to touch on Renfield if you can get to it.
All right, maybe we get to some Renfield next week.
Yes, I've already seen that. I want to talk to you about it. Hurry up and watch it.
Yeah, I'm curious. All right.
More horror.
In the meantime, if you want to get in touch with us, you can do that at wewatchedathing.com or wewatchedathing@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all under the handle at wewatchedathing. If you want to help support the show, you can do that at patreon.com/wewatchedathing, and we'll catch you next week.
Go watch Evil Dead.